Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher is once again going after what he sees as extreme woke views. And this time, he's taking direct aim at Whoopi Goldberg. Let's be honest, Whoopi's made more than a few controversial remarks since 2022, so Maher had plenty to work with. But this wasn't just a call-out. He completely dismantled her arguments. With sharp points and calm delivery, Maher left Whoopi struggling to respond. It felt less like a debate and more like a total takedown.
Endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
So what exactly did Whoopi say to set Bill Maher off? And why did his response shake up the woke crowd? Don't worry, we've got all the details, and you won't want to miss a moment. Let's just say, Whoopi picked the wrong fight. Now she's facing the full force of Maher's brutal honesty, and it's getting messy. Remember when Maher took on Sunny Hostin for twisting his words and playing the victim? Well, it looks like The View isn't staying quiet anymore. This time they've sent in their heavyweight, Whoopi Goldberg, and it feels like a full-on revenge mission.
Rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
So, what did Whoopi say that lit a fire under Bill Maher? And why did his clapback rattle the woke crowd? Don't worry, we've got every detail. One thing's clear, Whoopi picked the wrong battle. Now she's up against Maher's no-nonsense takedown, and things are getting messy. You might remember when Maher called out Sunny Hostin for twisting his words and playing the victim. Well, The View isn't backing down. This time, they've brought out their big gun, Whoopi Goldberg, and it's starting to look like a full-blown counterattack.
Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your idea.
Bill Maher wasn't about to let that one slide. And let's be honest, this is classic The View. As usual, Maher didn't hold back, slamming Whoopi's take as completely ridiculous. At this point, the show has become the political talk show version of a train wreck. You know you should look away, but you just can't. For years, The View has been known for its loud debates, controversial opinions, and let's face it, some seriously questionable logic.
Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time, and they act so self-righteous. The reality is, he didn't have to say anything in regards to whether or not his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, "Hey man, I'm not focused."
But Whoopi and Sunny Hostin, they've taken the chaos to a whole new level. Remember when Charlemagne the God appeared on The View? You could almost see the regret on his face, like he was wondering if he just stepped into an alternate universe. Now, let's get into the latest controversy, President Joe Biden. The same man who constantly reminds us that no one is above the law just pardoned his own son, Hunter Biden, after a messy conviction tied to corruption and other questionable behavior. So much for family values, right?
There are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one.
As expected, critics went into a frenzy. After all, how can you talk about justice when your own son gets a pass? If you're a Biden supporter, you might call it compassion. But to everyone else, it feels like the justice system isn't blindfolded anymore, just peeking through the cracks. And let's be real, Hunter's guilt was as obvious as a kid caught with cookie crumbs on his face. Still, the Biden family calendar somehow couldn't find time for accountability.
Follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that they're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
And that was exactly Charlemagne's point. If the so-called woke elite say everyone's equal under the law, then why not follow their own rules? Sounds simple, right? But Whoopi Goldberg had a completely different take, one that left people shaking their heads. In true Whoopi fashion, she delivered another eye-roll-worthy moment, doubling down on her claim that President Biden's "no one is above the law" stance was completely valid.
Power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to both.
Really? Because last time we checked, there's plenty of proof, audio, video, maybe even cave carvings, of Biden saying exactly that. Denying it is like standing under a clear blue sky and insisting it's not blue. At this point, Whoopi's logic is so twisted it could qualify her for the Olympics, though she'd probably trip over her own argument before reaching the podium. And Charlemagne's face said it all, pure disbelief.
Press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know.
But did Whoopi stop there? Of course not. She doubled down, suggesting maybe, just maybe, Biden changed his stance because he was tired of seeing criminals slip through the cracks. Charlemagne, silent and shocked, seemed to realize that crime only matters when the guilty party isn't part of their exclusive club. But of course, when the guilty party is one of their own, suddenly it's all about selective amnesia. The fiery moral crusaders turn into silent observers. Rules for thee, but not for me, right? Charlemagne might have let Whoopi and her crew slide with their mental gymnastics on The View, but once Bill Maher caught wind of their antics, oh, he wasn't about to let that nonsense fly. It was like he said, hold my beer.
As if the voters don't live here. As if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office. But they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're...
Then Maher delivered one of the most savage reality checks we've heard in a while. He nailed it when he pointed out how the woke elite love to position themselves as moral authorities, the truth tellers, the righteous ones, until their hypocrisy gets exposed for all to see. And this time, there was no escaping it. Hunter Biden was guilty, clear as day. But did he face any real consequences? Not a chance. Why? Because his father just happens to be in the Oval Office. Imagine if anyone else had done the same thing. The public would be demanding their head on a silver platter. But when it's one of their own, justice suddenly takes a backseat. It's hypocrisy at its finest, and Maher was spot on to call it out for the farce it is. So here's the real question. How much longer are Americans supposed to tolerate this double standard? This isn't just about Hunter Biden. It's about a system that bends over backwards for the powerful while leaving everyone else behind.
People who really like him, they certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti...
The women of The View aren't just woke. They're like a pack of sharks, ready to tear apart anyone who disagrees. Their so-called debates have nothing to do with honest conversation. It's all about sneering, scoffing, and shutting down opposing views with mockery. And Whoopi? She's a pro at dismissing any opposing opinion like it's beneath her. But Maher? He doesn't back down. He exposed them for what they really are, bullies in disguise as advocates. That's why he's such a thorn in their side. While they preach inclusivity, Maher keeps proving their progressive approach is just a cover for hypocrisy. His takedowns are a breath of fresh air for viewers tired of one-sided debates. Instead of blaming Russia, racism, or whatever trendy scapegoat's trending on Twitter, Maher lays it out plainly. If the woke crowd really believes in democracy, they need to accept one thing. Sometimes the other side wins, It's not a glitch, it's democracy working as it should. And the sooner they stop playing the victim and start acting like strategists, the better chance they'll have at a real comeback, whether in 2028 or 2032. Maher doesn't sugarcoat it. He calls it like it is. Stop clutching your pearls over Trump's victory. He didn't steal it, cheat for it, or manifest it out of thin air.
Getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
The hypocrisy is almost laughable. Those preaching tolerance seem to forget the moment someone challenges their views. Bill Maher didn't back down. He exposed The View for being an echo chamber where dissent is banned. It's not about discussion. It's about obedience. Whoopi, after decades in the business, still relies on recycled talking points. Americans are waking up to this game. They're tired of being told what they can think or question for holding common sense views. Bill Maher speaks out for those who feel silenced. His takedown was sharp and hilarious, dismantling their arguments one by one. The View pretends to be about open discussion, but it's a controlled performance. This saga isn't over. Bill Maher will keep calling out the woke elite with brutal honesty. Like, share, and subscribe if you want more unfiltered takes. Maher just left Whoopi and The View scrambling in their responses. Total panic mode. Was he right? Watch and decide for yourself. Don't forget to hit that notification bell for more hard-hitting content. See you in the next one.